Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of Gamescript. Tonight, we're looking at Sunday Night Football between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Dallas Cowboys. And it's a game where there's a bunch of significant injuries that should affect the matchups and some of the players that we select in tonight's game. And I'll get into it right after this. Hey, what's up, guys? Simon Edwards at Pumacom here with Heat Seeker Sports. You're watching Gamescript. This is a game where we're going to be breaking down showdown lineups for the Dallas Cowboys versus Pittsburgh Steelers. We're looking at a total of 43.5 points with Dallas as 2.5-point dogs in this one. They're playing in Pittsburgh. We have some weather concerns, but it looks like the weather should impact only the first few minutes of the game, so nothing too much to worry about, but something to be aware of, that there should be some sort of rain and potential thunderstorms at the beginning of the game, but it looks like it's not going to last long, so it shouldn't impact things too much, but good to be aware of. Make sure to hit that like button. I'm looking for 30 likes to put out a shorter video later on. The short video on the main slate right now is crushing. We got Joe Burrow and T. Higgins in that one, and Jamar Chase is going off too, so if you did the double stack then you're doing really well in that main slate right now. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm looking for 1,000 subscribers. I was hoping to get there by the end of week 5. I'm about 17 away, so make sure to subscribe to the channel. You want to subscribe so that you get the alerts when the short videos come out. The short videos usually come out around an hour before lock or so. So you want to make sure that you're subscribed and you have the alert settings on for when those videos pop up. So let's get into this matchup here. We're looking at a bunch of injuries in this one, and Dallas in particular, they have Micah Parsons out. Brandon Cooks is out. They got defensive end DeMarcus Lawrence is on IR now. Sam Williams, I believe, is his backup. He is out. And cornerback Deron Bland is out as well. So a lot of injuries to that Dallas defense, which should make some of these Pittsburgh matchups look good. Problem on the Pittsburgh side is they're missing offensive linemen James Daniels, Isaac Samalo, and Troy Fatau. Horrible pronunciation there. But they're missing 3 offensive linemen, and they're also missing 2 running backs in Jalen Warren and Cordero Patterson. So we're missing a decent amount of players on the Pittsburgh side, too, not to mention edge rusher Alex Highsmith. He's also out. So mostly offensive injuries on the Pittsburgh side and mostly defensive injuries on the Dallas side, but I might give a little bit of an edge there to Pittsburgh with having Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence both out in this one, as well as Deron Bland. So that's a little bit of an edge on the Pittsburgh side. As we look through this player pool, Dallas has not been playing well this season with a lot of the players that they've lost, injuries that have happened, and they're just generally struggling this season. We'll get into that right now. Taking a look at CeeDee Lamb, you can see CeeDee Lamb has been doing pretty good. He had 23 DraftKings points last week, 19 a few weeks ago. But as a first overall pick in a lot of these drafts, he's definitely underperforming, not getting the type of delivering the type of numbers that you want to see after drafting him first overall in a lot of these best ball drafts over the summer. He's also struggling against the type of defense that the Steelers run. And if the Steelers are able to get pressure on Dak Prescott tonight, CeeDee Lamb should be affected by that because Dak has not been able to get the ball to CeeDee Lamb when he's under pressure. So CeeDee Lamb is a guy that, based on how he's been performing and just general matchup concerns. He might be a guy that we could fade at this expensive salary. You see 17.7 in the captain, and that would be 11.8 in the flex. So CeeDee Lamb has some matchup concerns in this one. However, the Steelers are allowing a decent amount of points to the slot. I believe it was 50% of the points that they are allowing to, or receptions that they're allowing to wide receivers are coming from the slot. So that's a huge edge for CeeDee Lamb. But at the same time, they could put their best defenders on CeeDee Lamb, as CeeDee Lamb's obviously their number one receiver, and not all these teams' number one receivers are slot receivers. So they're good against defending the number one overall receivers on opposing offenses. So, it's kind of a crapshoot with CeeDee Lamb tonight, but there is a case to be made for not using him, especially if you're only doing a few lineups. Dak Prescott, he's been had one game of 32 DraftKings points a couple weeks ago, but in general, he hasn't been doing that great. 16.7, 14.9, 11.46. Not the type of performances that we're used to seeing out of Dak Prescott over the past few years. And like with this Pittsburgh defense, Pittsburgh's got one of the best defenses in the league. They've been a little bit sluggish lately, but a banged up Dallas offense, like a banged up Dallas team in general, they should be able to take advantage of, especially with Dallas not being able to get a running game going. And that's typically how Pittsburgh, likes to play their defense. They like to take a lead, like prevent you from getting your run game going. And if you have to use their run game, then, like they got guys like Cam Hayward and stuff like that that can, just shut you down. And if they don't have a run game in general with Dallas, then they're not going to be able to really, get what they need against Pittsburgh tonight. So it should be an interesting matchup overall. As far as the Pittsburgh side, like from the running perspective, Najee Harris has a really good matchup. Problem with Najee Harris is he's been doing awful this year. But like I said at the top, they're missing those two other running backs in Cordero Patterson and Jalen Warren. So that's going to set up Najee to get a ton of work in this one. And Dallas has been giving up 29.4 DraftKings points a game to the running back position. So that's going to set up Najee very nicely with opportunity and the upside in the matchup. The only problem is they're missing all those offensive linemen in addition to the running backs. So the advantage that they might have had with Dallas's defense missing a lot of pieces, might be neutralized a little bit with the offensive line missing so many pieces on the Steelers side. But Najee Harris in a really good matchup regardless there. Justin Fields has finally had his breakout week last week, 35 DraftKings points. But besides that, they've been using him pretty conservatively. 19 DraftKings points against the Chargers, where they had a comfortable lead. 11 DraftKings points against Denver, where they had a comfortable lead. And Atlanta, that he only had 11 DraftKings points against them, and they also had a lead in that one. So Pittsburgh's been playing with leads throughout the season. They're 4-0 right now. And Justin Fields, he had his first big game last week against Indy's defense. So let's take a look at the next guy here. We've got George Pickens. George Pickens, I think, is my favorite play on the slate. George Pickens is a guy I'll be using in the captain tonight. I just think that he's got a great matchup. We got those injuries to the Dallas defense on top of it. 22.1 DraftKings points a game is what Dallas is giving up to wideouts, and that's significant, obviously, with Pickens running most of his routes out wide, and they also run a lot of cover 3, according to Rich Rebar, and Pickens 19 routes against cover 3. He's caught 5 of 6 targets for 69 yards, but he has a 33.5% target rate against cover 3 this season. So that is very significant for Pickens in this matchup tonight. And on top of that, Dallas missing that corner, and they also have very slow safeties. Don't be surprised to see a guy like Pickens be able to get one over on this defense and score a long bomb on this one. I like Pickens a lot as a captain option tonight. Russell Wilson, obviously uh, he's not playing. Dowdle started getting the majority of the snaps, but he's got Lipke is now taking some of the running back shares away from Dowdle and Zeke. But Dowdle, got his first touchdown last week. It was a screen pass, but other than that, he really has not done much of anything in that lead role. Jake Ferguson came back last week and did really well. He was a detriment to Tolbert. Tolbert, you'd think, would have an advantage with Cooks being out, but Tolbert has really not been winning any targets. He has a very small, like 14% target share. And, Jake Ferguson, when Jake Ferguson's back in the game, I think it goes under 10%. So, Ferguson winning targets over Tolbert. I like Ferguson a lot tonight. Freiermuth is finally getting the trust of, the coach, the offensive coordinator, Arthur Smith at, Pittsburgh. And last week he had 7 targets, 5 receptions, 16.7 DraftKings points. He got his first touchdown last week. Against this defense, however, we're looking at Dallas giving up 6 DraftKings points a game to the tight end position. So Freiermuth might not be, the best guy to have on our radar, but he is on the radar at 6,600 on DraftKings. We also got, if we scroll down a little bit here, Aubrey, dude's a stud, like as far as kicking these long field goals, double-digit points in every game this season, and he's only at 5,800. You can't really go wrong with Aubrey, especially if you think that Dallas is going to be keeping this game competitive. Tolbert, I covered earlier. Not a big fan of Tolbert. He just isn't winning. He's had plenty of opportunity, 9 targets, 5 targets, 3 targets, but really has not done much with these targets that he's getting. Guy that I like over Tolbert is Turpin. Turpin, I think, will get more work with Cooks out. And I think Turpin at 3K, he runs a decent amount of his routes from the slot. Let's see. They've been Pittsburgh's given up 12.4 DraftKings points a game from the slot. Same stats that I mentioned with CeeDee Lamb, with 50% of the receptions by receivers coming from the slot. Let me get that exact stat here. Let's see. Steelers have allowed 50% of wide receivers' receptions to come from the slot, which is the 6th highest rate. Again, that's courtesy of Rich Rebar. So Turpin running a decent amount of his routes from the slot, that would be an advantage for him as well, and he's only 3K. And I like him with Cooks being out. They need a speedster, and Tolbert is not cutting it. So Turpin might see opportunity. If you've watched these showdowns in the past, we've seen Turpin come out of nowhere many times and, he bust out these long receptions or whatever. So if he finally gets an opportunity to get a little bit more work in this matchup, then don't be surprised to see Turpin show up on those optimal lineups tonight. Boswell, another guy, solid kicker, 26 DraftKings points the first week, and he's gotten just on the edge of double-digit points the rest of his game so far this season. But Boswell, another solid kicker for us to keep in our player pool tonight. Cowboys D, not a big fan of Cowboys D tonight, despite the matchup against Fields, who has struggled in the past. But I think Fields has been a lot tamer with this offense that plays a lot more conservative. So I don't think that the Cowboys D, I don't think I'll have a ton of exposure to them. They haven't been playing well regardless. I think they're going to be kept on the field by Pittsburgh tonight. I think that's going to be a game plan. Probably drag it out with running and Fields extending plays and everything like that. So don't be surprised to see, like this Cowboys have a rough go tonight. Zeke, not really a fan of Zeke. In general, the Pittsburgh defense only allows 16 DraftKings points a game to the running back position anyways. So on top of these running backs all not being good, they have a difficult matchup on top of it. Steelers D, I'm more interested in tonight at 4K. I think that they have a solid defense. I think that there's some matchup advantages too with all the weaknesses of Dallas and their offense this year, where I think the Steelers can take advantage. And we might see one of those sloppy games from Dak where he's turning balls over, he's not able to get the ball to CeeDee Lamb, and they just kind of have one of their meltdowns. So don't be surprised to see the Steelers D have a decent game tonight, and we'll build for some of those lineups as well. I like Calvin Austin. He's another guy that I like. He's another guy that can blow the top off this defense that's missing like a lot of their weapons, and then on top of that, having those slow safeties. If Calvin Austin gets his opportunities in this one, we saw what he could do a couple weeks ago at 19.5 DraftKings points, but overall, I'm a bigger fan of Pickens, but if you think Dallas can keep this game competitive or play with a lead and force Pittsburgh to throw the ball, we got 3,600 on Calvin Austin in this one. Van Jefferson, not a huge fan of Van Jefferson. He got 3 targets, 2 targets. So 3 targets is his max target so far this season. And I just think that there's better places to go in this price range, especially Turpin, who I mentioned earlier. Dalvin Cook has joined the running backs. It looks like took some reps yesterday. I don't know if Cooks is going to play this week. I think he should. He should play at some point. Like, keep an eye on his status, though, because with the way that Dallas has been playing at the running back position, I would not be surprised if Cook is active if they give him an opportunity. But Cook could be interesting, but just keep him on your radar. I'm not going to advocate putting him in your lineups until we hear something from beat reporters talking about giving him an opportunity. If I'm reading this, so 3.7 yards per carry is Zeke and Dowdle's total. I don't see any indication that Cook is going to be getting an opportunity anytime soon. So keep him in mind. Look for beat writer reports, and then that could determine whether he's worth a start or not. Brooks, he's another one of these receivers, but I like Turpin as my cheap guy. We're looking at 3, 3, and 1 for his targets. Lipke is interesting too because he's getting a lot of passing work, or at least passing routes in this offense with Dowdle and Zeke both failing. 2 targets last week, 3 targets the week before that. He's only $1,000. So if you're struggling for salary relief guys, Lipke could be a good one there. Scotty Miller was always good with Tampa and other teams, but he really just has not gotten much opportunity in this offense. Not a passing offense. I would tend to stay away from the cheaper receivers on the Pittsburgh side. They just don't have enough opportunity because they are primarily a run first type of offense. And I don't really see anyone else interesting in this player pool. So let's start building a lineup. Make sure to hit that like button. Give me the 30 likes so I can put out a shorter video with my favorite picks later on. As I mentioned in the main slate, it's just the Burrow stack is crushing right now, and we need what's his face, Derrick Henry to come through for us, though. He hasn't really been doing too much in this game. Let's see. Looks like they just scored, though. Who scored? Yeah, Henry's still at only 10 DraftKings points, so he's really doing nothing for us. Looks like Zay Flowers is coming through on the Baltimore side there. Higgins is up to 29 DraftKings points, and Chase has 44. So if you double stack those guys, good job on that. So let's go with captain play. I'm looking at Pickens. He's going to be my favorite captain, I think, tonight. I like Fields because obviously he has the rushing upside on top of having that correlation with Pickens in this one. I think my favorite guy on the Dallas side, I'm gonna put in Turpin for salary relief because we know we'll need salary relief right off the bat. Harris has that great matchup against the defense of Dallas, giving up all those running back points. It's going to leave us with 7K per guy. As you can see, it gets us a little bit difficult to get a guy like CeeDee Lamb in, but that leaves us with 2,200. And if we go down to the salary relief spot, we can see Lepke. So we're taking advantage of the slot with Lamb and Turpin, and we can get Lipke in there too, assuming that maybe Dallas is playing from behind and they're using him a lot more. Let's see. Another way we could go if we wanted to fade Lamb and put Ferguson in there instead. We have Turpin and Ferguson. That's going to leave us with 6,400. That situation, we could put in like Aubrey or Boswell. If you like Tolbert, you have him as an option. Cowboys D. A lot of different options there. If you think that, let's see, if you want to put in Lamb and you like Dak to outscore Fields, we can do that too. And then we still have that 1K for Lipke. He's probably going to be the best option. Who's Roman Wilson? Roman Wilson's a rookie on the Steelers. He hasn't done anything this year, so I don't know if it's I don't know if he's even going to have an opportunity tonight. But Lipke is probably my favorite salary saver besides Turpin here. But you might need to put a couple of those types of guys in order to make things work tonight. If you want to put Lamb in with all these other guys that we know can do well. I prefer Fields. I prefer Pickens in the captain. If you wanted to go with Lamb in the captain, we could do something like that. You probably want Dak in that as well. Let's say that Fields, has one of his games where he fails. I want to get Pickens in there no matter what. And Harris, the matchup's just too good for Harris. That really is going to hamstring us with our salary though. So maybe we take out Pickens in this situation. Let's put in Turpin to give a second guy to, or let's put in Ferguson to give a second guy to Dak. So this is a more of a Cowboy heavy build. We got Ferguson in there. Let's give him Turpin. And that's going to leave us with 2,100. So again, it leaves us kind of in that Lepke. If this is a low scoring game, then we could probably justify having a captain like Ferguson in there because Ferguson would get, an opportunity to outscore all these guys if it's a low scoring game. So let's put Ferguson in there. Let's put Pickens and Fields in there. Let's get Harris in there. It's hard to get away from those guys for me. So if we got Ferguson, he's our only guy right now on Dallas. If we wanted to we can't put Lamb in there. We just don't have the salary for it. If we wanted to go down here a little bit and get Turpin in again, going to leave us with 7,400. At least that leaves us with options like Freiermuth if you wanted to go there, Boswell, and Aubrey. Probably go Aubrey in a build like this, but that leaves us a bunch of money on the table. So it's really it's going to be tricky to build lineups in this slate, which is why I just lean on Pickens as my favorite captain. I think he's got the most upside. if we wanted to go with another running back on Pittsburgh, let's see who else we got as a Vaughn. No, he's not. Is Ward going to be the backup? Ward was activated from the practice squad. So if we can figure out who's going to be the backup running back in this one, let me look up something real quick. See if we can get an idea of this depth chart. This is good, though, because if Najee's struggling and we can get like one of these super cheap running backs. The Baltimore game for Cincy is getting a huge score right now. Let's see. All right. Where's Pittsburgh? All right, we're going to look at some of these depth charts here. I'm seeing Jalen Warren, Aaron Shampkin. Let's take a look at him. Yeah, this is how bad they are for depth right now on Pittsburgh's running backs. He is a $2,000 guy. He actually played last week, so it looks like this guy would probably be the main backup. Promoted to the 53-man squad on Wednesday. Don't know much about this guy, but 2K, he gives you another option in that really good running back matchup for the Pittsburgh side. So let's keep that in mind. And let's try to build this lineup out again. Let's say we want Lamb. And let's say we want Fields and Harris, as I was actually, let's get rid of Harris. Let's get Ferguson in there. So we got Ferguson and we got Lamb, and then we got Fields and we got Pickens. So let's go with Turpin. That leaves us 3,400. So that way, at least we can you can dabble in Champlin if you want to. Going in that direction, you at least get all these other studs in here, and then you got Turpin in addition to them. Let's put Champlin in there. Let's take out Turpin and see what that can get us. That gets us to Steelers D and Calvin Austin at least. So that might be even better way to go. Although I do like Turpin, but if Champlin, if we read up, like make sure to read up beat reporters on the running back situation, like because this could be a key to the slate. If you can figure out who the backup to Najee is going to be, the matchup is so good for the running back versus Dallas. They're giving up 29 DraftKings points a game. That like Najee's struggling. If he continues to struggle in this game, they give another guy an opportunity, and he's able to just go nuts. Then that could be the perfect spot and a perfect low owned spot, because I'm sure a lot of people aren't going to be able to figure out what's going on with that running back situation. So make sure to do that. I'll do some research. I'll make a comment in the YouTube video if I figure anything out with that. But make sure to hit the like button. Give me the 30 likes so we can put out a shorter one later on. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm only about 17 off of 1,000, so help me out there, guys. Definitely appreciate it. And I will see you later on with a short video.